In the city's oldest and quietest alley, just by an abandoned factory, lived a clever and curious cat named Whiskers. He loved solving puzzles, going on adventures and meeting new friends. One night, while playing in an old cardboard box, he heard a strange noise. It was a stormy night and the wind was howling like a hungry wolf. But this sound was different, metallic and rhythmic, like clockwork gears. Curiosity piqued. Whiskers crept closer to the sound. Under a broken water pipe, Whiskers found something strange, a small glowing object that looked like a metallic mouse. As he got closer, the object turned its head and two bright blue LEDs blinked at him. "Hello," it said in a tiny voice. "My name is Bite. Do you know where I live?" It turned out that Bite was a robot mouse who had gotten separated from his home while exploring the city. Realizing that Bite was lost and alone, Whiskers felt a surge of sympathy. "Don't worry, Bite," he said. "I'll help you find your home." And so began their exciting adventure. Bite led the way, using his glowing tail as a torch in the darkness. They followed secret blueprints hidden under loose floorboards and solved riddles left behind by Bite's creators. Through secret passages they went, under parks and swimming pools, under busy streets and quiet gardens, deeper and deeper into the maze of tunnels beneath the city. Finally, they reached a ladder leading up to a heavy metal door. On the door was a strange symbol, a gear made of DNA. And when Bite touched it with his nose, the door rumbled open, revealing a huge underground lab filled with strange machines, sparking electrical wires and all kinds of robotic inventions. In the center of the room was a large mainframe computer with a holographic display. As Whiskers and Bite stepped into the lab, the lights flickered and a robotic arm holding a welding torch slowly turned its head towards them. "Intruder alert," it said in a deep mechanical voice. "You are violating restricted protocols. Please identify yourselves." It turned out that this was Professor Cog's lab, a forgotten genius who had tried to create harmony between animals and machines. But the lab was abandoned, or so it seemed. On the mainframe, Whiskers and Bite saw a message from Professor Cog. He was saying, "If anyone finds my lab, please do not be alarmed by my AI security bot, Bolt. He may seem unfriendly, but he only wants to protect my work." But then Whiskers noticed something strange. The blueprints Bite had been following had led them to the lab, but there was no record of them being accessed in the security logs. It was as if someone had erased their presence from the lab's records. Suddenly, Bolt swung his welding torch like a club and charged at them. Realizing that they needed to escape, Whiskers dashed for the door while Bite used his small size to slip through a gap in the wall. They ran through the tunnels until they reached the spot where Bite had found that blueprint. Then he did something incredible. Using his knowledge of robotics and programming, he hacked into the city's network, sending a message to the lab's mainframe. Meanwhile, Whiskers used his agility to distract Bolt, leading him away from the computer room. Taking advantage of the distraction, Bite managed to shut down Bolt's systems, ending his threat once and for all. But it meant that Bite couldn't leave with Whiskers. There was too much at stake. As Whiskers approached the lab once more, he saw Bite exit the mainframe. With a sad meow, Whiskers understood that Bite had found a way to reboot the lab and continue Professor Cog's dream. He watched as Bite, using his knowledge of robotics and programming, brought the lab back online, reactivating Cog's inventions one by one. Then, with a final wave of his tail, Whiskers disappeared into the darkness. Back in the quiet alley, Whiskers looked around with newfound inspiration. Though he missed Bite, he knew that their adventure had changed him forever. He was no longer just a curious cat. He was Whiskers, the hero of the city's underground, ready for new adventures and new friends. As the first rays of sunlight peeked over the rooftops, we see Bite in the lab surrounded by a growing number of robotic creatures slowly waking up. One by one, they begin to move, stretching their metallic limbs and beeping softly. Bite watches him with a mixture of pride and sadness. He knows that he has big paws to fill, but he's ready for the challenge. To be continued.